Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring Yacht, stay ahead, the Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Microphone, Franklin and I were talking about the back deals that come with most of the, or some of the cases of activism you see in different parts of the country. One of which is presently trending, the issue of an activist who mediates between the kidnapped and the kidnappers, and of course how it eventually turned out to become a very sour and dirty deal. But behind all of that, I am also reminded of similar issues where we've often called for negotiators of any type at different points to be brought in for questioning. People have been asking, are these negotiators somehow positioning themselves to benefit directly or indirectly of the crime of kidnapping and other crimes of similar nature? I use the case of Mama Boko Haram, for instance, the case of Sheikh Gumi, and of course the case of Harrison Gwamnishuk, which is trending at the moment, to buttress that question. I am not certain, I am just asking a question. Isn't it about time we start to look at what happens behind the scene, behind all of the talks about negotiations, about the talks of the persons that have been gotten out and all whatnot? And of course, yesterday, General Christopher Musa was confirmed and sworn in as the Minister of Defense of Nigeria, and he made a glowing statement about how Nigerians are going to start seeing proof of work well done in a couple of months. Nigerians are obviously holding the man by his words, because Nigeria at this point sure needs rescuing. Of course, yesterday, the IMO conference, which was supposed to last from yesterday to today, the economic summit that happened in Imo State, had the likes of Vice President Kashim Shettima making glowing statements about how needed the Igbos are in the Nigerian scheme. All of these and many more we get to look at on today's edition of the Polity, not forgetting that judgment on the place of the VIO to arrest and impound vehicles regardless of offense being committed by road users. Welcome to the Polity. I am Chisom Chiniti. Good morning to you. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning. Good morning to our listener. Of course, we are here again for an interesting edition of this very show for us to bring you developments in the Polity. You mentioned how some activists, or many of them, who come out as though they are pro people, that they are trying to give their services, be selfless and help people to achieve one cause or the other. But when you get closer, you get to see that it's like a business. They have a way of making money out of it. Reason is that I have worked closely with some activists. At the surface level, I thought they were offering selfless service until I came deeper and I saw that the thing is this: it's like a marketing strategy. There is a bait thrown to you, and you jump on the bait, and once you come in, once they get to the point of getting value for that thing you are looking for, you have to pay a certain amount of money And that I said that they tell you it's for mobilization, it's for this, it's for that, it's for that, but money is involved. So there's no activist who offers you anything free of charge. That's why when I see people who call themselves the writers, right? The writers who think that whatever very dark man does, that he's right, they defend him, thinking that, oh, this is a very selfless man. They forget that somewhere
someone is financing all of
he's making money off the engagement and what have you not. So I'm not saying you should not have an idol, you should not idolize anybody, but what I'm saying in essence is there is no activist who does anything free of charge. Even when you mention, Shore, they'll tell you that, oh, he does this, he does that, he's the signpost for new Nigeria or new activism. But if you get to know how they make money off this very thing, then you are going to marvel. Then let me talk about something that happened to Natasha Polity, and of course she is celebrating that. I don't know whether it's worth celebrating or maybe she was trying to find media engagement. What am I talking about? If you check some papers, you will see that it was reported that she matched the most searched personality on Google for 2025. Google's most searched personality for 2025, Natasha Polity. She's the one that emerged that very victorious. And guess what? She went on Facebook to dedicate defeat to Nigerians, saying that Nigerians, you did this, and here is your trophy. Now look at what she wrote. She said, out of 237 million people, I emerged the most stretched person with an unprecedented public interest around a rising political profile. They shut me out of the Senate for 6 months till date. I still struggle to speak on topical issues, but I thank God and the people for lifting me up. Kogi Central, I love you. Kogi State, I adore you. Nigeria, respect. Senator Natasha Polity, famously Kogi Central, Google's most searched person 2025. Now my new badge be that. I don't know why I saw Chisom's voice in this.
Seriously, Franklin, you had to do that.
What is that?
Oh well, let's just say that I don't think I can be petty sometimes. What I see there is Natasha being petty. Natasha being petty to the point of, well, you wanted it, there you have it. And of course it's a way of telling the persons that she says are responsible for what brought about all of that traction.
But the thing is this: people search for her because of what she was involved in.
It is what I'm saying. So it's a way. She wasn't involved in it alone. All of this happened because of the saga between herself and Akpabio, right?
Exactly.
And so I am saying it's that pet. What I say in that statement she made is pettiness. Her way of telling Akpabio and his people.
Well, so let's see how she wears the badge of Google most searched person in 2025.
Does Google give anything for that?
Maybe she will go and ask for it, and they give her a badge. After all, this time our PDP is now offering certificate of expulsion,
right?
So who knows whether that one is going to happen?
Let's see. And Tony Mbeki is here with us. Is going to be doing justice to all of the matters on our desk this morning. Ogadagidi, Ibochi.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indanambra. Good morning, Onitsha. Good morning, Indosimo. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. And we're here to do justice to developing stories as usual. We have got so many of them, so we must look into and see how these things affect our common welfare. These days, we have to have the Commission of Common Welfare, because politicians, they tend to do their own thing, and we have a way of doing our own thing. But all the same, you're welcome wherever you are, back in the sanctuary, back to profess the truth, and that's what we are here to do. And we can do that. We have to implore the mercy of God Almighty, His blessings and everything for us to get it done as expected, and trust us to do justice to some of these things. You're welcome.
All right, then we're going to tell you what the front pages say, and right after that we'll take a look at some of the matters on our desk, and then Tony analyzes. On our desk this morning, the Nation newspaper, Vanguard, The Punch, and The Guardian are here. And starting with the Nation, banner headline here: economic climate may now right, say Edu Dangote Uzodima. The writer here: Boris Johnson, Kimun, Boakai, others laud Nigeria's progress on page 2. President nominates Ibas Enang Choma Hakim. Dambazao as ambassadors on page 3. A lot of controversies still surrounding Mr. President's nominees. Arming communities dangerous. Kuka warns, rebuttal, we will defeat terror on page 2. Judge turns down request for Kano's relocation from Sokoto prison on page 4. Appeal court seals order barring VIO from stopping impounding vehicles on highway on page 4. Repayment of 185 billion naira gas legacy debt begins on page 7. PSC kickstarts recruitment of 50,000 policemen on page 4. And at this point, I'm asking, how many Nigerians are willing to become police officers with the present integrity and positioning of the Nigerian police force?
Okay, so let's look at the headlines we have on Vanguard newspaper. The banner headline here says, "We will defeat terror, restore order, peace." Defense Minister NSA. He has the riders. Terrorists need to be flushed out. Kuka tells Minister. Kwara Monarch still with bandits, says community. 5 abducted river students regain freedom. The story is on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. Ken, Appeal Court affirms judgment barring VIO from seizing vehicles, imposing fines. The story is on page 7 of Vanguard newspaper. President nominates Ibas, Dambazao, 63 others as ambassadors. The story is on page 8. At Imo Economic Summit, Ndibu most significant stakeholders in the Nigeria project. At Tinubu, the story is on page 11 of Vanguard newspaper. It has the right down. Zodima opens stage to multi-sectoral investment. Then above the nameplate, banks, insurance contribution to economy falls 15% to 1.5 trillion naira. The story is on page 20 of a Vanguard newspaper. And these are the headlines, apart from the picture story on the front page, talking about Altel Mortar lighting up Christmas ceremony. These are the stories.
All right, then from that paper, we move on to the next. And of course, let's take a look at some of the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. The banner headline here is How Stigma, Poor Treatment Funding Hobble, HIV/AIDS Rollback on pages 4 and 5. That's the big story on the Guardian newspaper. And of course, December, first week of December, a lot of conversations go on about HIV and AIDS. And the conversation has been on about how people can stay safe. Prevention is always better than cure, you know. And on page 29, Mossop decries Igbo politicians' silence on Kanu's ordeal. Was it not the other day that Abia State Governor went to see him? I sometimes when statements like this come up, I start to ask myself, what do the makers of this statement intend to achieve, Frank?
On the other side, I shouldn't be expecting people to be playing double standard. Why am I saying so? The very Igbo politicians or stakeholders that Mossop is expecting to speak are the same persons who were dehumanized, who were called all sorts of names for whatever reason it is, either for difference in ideology or for difference in approach.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you were expecting them to also, begin to make a case. But that does not mean that, that does not mean that stakeholders who want the interests of the Southeast who want to protect the interest of the Southeast, that does not mean that they cannot still, make a cause or make a case for Nnamdi Kanu, that there should be a political solution to that.
Absolutely.
But what I don't understand sometimes is that double standard that we always play at any point in time. It doesn't help.
It's really sad. And Insecurity Defense Minister vows swift gains as NSA warns enemies. Labour talks are tough on page 6. You behave more like political candidates than president, ADC tells Tinubu on page 7. Kachiko had a field day yesterday. He said a lot of things about how Mr. President is handling situations in the country. And a lot of the things he said, if you compare them with the realities on ground, you might want to see things differently. And Tinubu nominates Ibas Sulugambari, Bent Enang, 61 others as ambassadors on page 3. Reps defer Constitution review debate for wider consultation on page 3. Nasarawa to prosecute parents of out-of-school children on page 20. And those are the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, so over to the Punch newspaper. Beside the nameplate, we have this headline that says newly sworn in defense minister declares war on kidnappers. The story is on page 8. Then the big story says big diplomatic overhaul. Tinubu's 65 envoy. Okay, let's go this very well. A big diplomatic overhaul. Tinubu's 65 envoy picks brace for Senate storm. The story is on page 5. It has a rider, ex-Rivers administrator, 30 politicians, others make list. Senate to screen list in 1 week. Another headline says Nigeria must protect democracy as Sahel faces coups. Rebado. Check page 41. PTAD monthly payout to retirees soars to 1 trillion naira. The story is on page 29. Immigration CG visit KB vows justice after checkpoint attack. The story is on page 41. Quite pathetic because I learned that terrorists, attacked immigration officers at the border between Nigeria and the Niger Republic and killed some of them. And that tells you that we have to do more than we do. There are some custom officers who also work in connivance with smugglers.
Sadly so.
No, they connive with them.
There is no way that all of the smuggling madness happens without some sort of connival and cooperation.
Exactly. Then another story we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper says FG sets December 20 deadline to pay contractors. The story is on page 29. These guys, I think 2 days ago was the second time or third time they were protesting that they have not been paid for the work done. And this time around, Faragom is saying that we now have a deadline to pay them. I think they were owed about 500 billion or thereabout. Then this very story says VIO heads to Supreme Court after losing vehicle impoundment appeal. The story is on page 41. And the last story on the front page of Punch newspaper says Senate others nationwide crackdown as lead poisoning hits Lagos. The story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper.
When I saw that story about lead poisoning and how it eventually happens, I started to ask myself, why is this being taken like this? I mean, we are not even giving it the kind of priority that we should give it, especially where this is something that could, just happen, especially with places that have access to centralized water systems, manufacturing hubs, and all of that. But of course, we are hoping that over time, Nigeria would become a country where things are proactively acted upon and not waited upon till you have poisoning, as a matter of fact, happening before government agencies and parties that should get involved swing into action. But of course, we are going to start the conversation with that court judgment on the matter of the VIO yesterday. On December 4th, which was yesterday, the Court of Appeal in Abuja unanimously affirmed the High Court's earlier judgment, which was given on October 2nd, 2024, that the VIO lacks lawful authority to stop, impound, or seize vehicles or impose fines on motorists. Of course, this came because a lot of harassments have been going on, and the VIO had been sued, and on the grounds that it lacked the merit, it lacked the constitutional backing, the legal backing to do any of the things it has been doing. And now one would be wondering, what exactly is the job of the VIO? Some persons would ordinarily see the VIO as a road, what would I call it now? A road regulatory enforcement agency. But the VIO is there to check about the health of vehicles on Nigerian roads. But I've always wondered, Tony, you check about vehicles, or the health of vehicles, and you find that they are not roadworthy, then you impound them. People pay fines, and the same vehicles return to the roads. Of what gain is the entire operation then? At the end of the day, when we just keep, having a system where the same dangerous things that lead to road accidents, vehicles that are not roadworthy, keep coming back on the roads, and the match that can happen is where they cannot wriggle their way out. They pay fines, they get impounded, and that's the match that can happen.
We saw what happened yesterday. Let me begin there because we have to understand certain things about the court ruling yesterday about the work of VIO in Abuja. And when we talk about VIO exists in most states. and there are some states that they exist with a different name, but they're close to the ones we know. I know very well that yesterday, Court of Appeal, led by, it was a 3-member panel of the court, unanimously upheld the Federal High Court's decision dismissing VIO's appeal as lacking in merit. Anyway, so that means that the VIO's actions were, according to the court, oppressive and unlawful, and the court also awarded additional cost around 1 million in some reports to the person who had gone to court to challenge the operational jurisdictions of VIO. And recall, look at where it started. It started sometime around October 2024, more than a year ago. We are in a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by human rights activist and lawyer Ebuka Marshall. And Ebuka Marshall was represented by Femi Folono. It was Justice Nkonye Evelyn Maha on, I think, October 2nd, 2024, that ruled that VIO officers lack legal authority under any existing law to stop vehicles, impound or confiscate them, or even impose fines on motorists. The courts, headed by Justice Nkonye Evelyn Maha, declared these actions unconstitutional, violating rights of freedom of movement, and also that of presumption of innocence, and also property ownership. So a perpetual injunction was issued against VIO, and damages cost were also awarded. That was exactly what happened on 2nd of October 2024. But we must understand the jurisdictional aspect of this ruling. Most times we try to interplay quite a lot of things, because VIO, just like I said earlier on, is a state law. It's a creation of a state law. It's not a federal agency. They operate in different states, and I must make this statement. I know I've said this thing in one of the cases we looked into. This ruling limits VIO to advisory roles, because that's what the court is trying to say. You inspect vehicles, but enforcement should go to agencies like police and Federal Road Safety Corporation. But the truth is, the judgment applies to VIO Abuja. It's not VIO in every other state.
And that's why I asked you that question about the general work of the VIO. Do you think that, for starters, let's start with that foundation and what they have been up to and all about? Do you think that it actually does solve any of the problems that we need to address in terms of road safety? Now, by road safety, I mean both vehicles on the road, but everything that concerns the state of the drivers who now, or the professionalism or qualification of the drivers who operate these vehicles.
If you talk about the function of VIO statutory functions include vehicle inspections. They issue roadworthiness certificates. They do driver texting and possibly licensing. They do accident vehicle inspection, and in many states they also advise drivers on a lot of things about their vehicle. So that is what VIO does traditionally and statutorily. So remember, I said VIO is a state and territorial creation. It focuses on vehicle administration. Its role is purely advisory role, not enforcement role. I've said it here. So I know how this issue of VIO Bruha started in Nigeria. In fact, it started even prior to, I think, during the colonial eras, where different regions in Nigeria have their own road or transport laws. So we've seen them acted in such manners, in such roles prior to our independence in 1960. So, having said that, we know very well that each of Nigeria's 30 states has its own law empowering VIO to do some of the things we have mentioned. So, it's under state jurisdiction, I have said that. And at the same time, VIO role from the way it is captured is advisory, more of, not enforcement. But there are some states like Lagos, for instance. Lagos State has explicitly stated that the ruling yesterday does not affect their own VIO operations.
Isn't it because they have a different one entirely?
They have their own. Yes, they have a different law. They have amended their state law because there was a time Lagos State VIO was also challenged, but they amended their law to include enforcement that they can stop and also check some of those things, and they also impound. So there was a time judgment came in that line against Lagos VIO. But what did they do? They went to the existing law, repealed it, amended it to include enforcement, because the judgment came on the back of the fact that there is nothing in your law creation that say that you can enforce. But what Lagos did was to go and amend it and add enforcement to it.
Why all of these are understood, Tony, takes us back to the first question I asked about what happens eventually, despite all of the law has said this or what the law hasn't said. These people on the road checking the worthiness of the. I mean, Tony, you're a road user. You see how many unworthy vehicles are. I would share an experience with you. On Friday, I had boarded a bus going to Oka, and you are inside a bus. A shuttle bus takes 7 passengers, and you can barely breathe because the exhaust from the vehicle is clouding the vehicle. It's clouding the passengers. You can barely breathe. And that shows that this vehicle has a very big problem. But more often than not, you see these supposed regulators paying more attention to private vehicle owners. They ignore whatever fault that these transporters, the vehicles they use, have. And so it takes me back to the question. Are they really doing what they are supposed to be doing? Is it really effective that these people are existing in the first place? Because a selective enforcement is no enforcement. As a matter of fact, the larger chunk of our population use public transportation. And if you really are out there for the safety of road users, then you had better pay attention to that as well.
I think, just like you mentioned, most of them, when you see them on the road, they are there to make money. Let's be honest. They are not actually going there to ascertain the roadworthiness of these vehicles. They are primarily, most times we have seen that in their conduct, in their manner, they are there to make money. But just like you pointed out earlier on, we have seen selective enforcement, and I have said many times that sometimes I think there was a time we've had these court rulings, especially when some state VIOs are challenged, and the courts keep saying the same thing, except Lagos State that went and amended their own law to include enforcement. But generally, you don't stay on the road. You don't impound vehicles. You don't disturb motorists. Some of these things are things ordinarily, if police feel that your vehicle is not roadworthy, they will send you to their office. And they may even demand roadworthiness, because most times when Federal Road Safety stop you on the road, they may ask, can you give us a roadworthiness certificate? So you have to go to the office to obtain that. But that is not for them to be on the road to check if you have their roadworthiness certificate or not. Their work is not to be on the road.
Even road safety is culpable. They still ignore public transporters. Like the problem is only a private vehicle problem.
Because we are here, I keep saying it to educate the people. Even road safety is a federal agency, but we've seen them being on the state roads. We know their own role primarily is to prevent road crashes. The issue of issuing number plate, these are secondary roles. Their primary role is to prevent road crashes,
and by extension, check that things that cause road crashes.
If you want to prevent something, you have to look at the causes.
That's goes back to unworthy vehicles.
That's just that. But the truth remains that there is a jurisdictional space or difference in what they do and what, because they complement each other. There are ones they ensure that you get from your vehicle inspection service, or what you call the VIX, vehicle inspection service office, issue of roadworthiness, but they would like to take that on their own because they want to make money out of it.
No, okay, so let me come in here because I want to raise a couple of things before other questions, because it's good that you were able to point the fact that the judgment that we have before us now, whether at the court of first instance or the appeal court, is limited to the VIO operation in FCT.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can also remember that sometime in 2022, there was also a court judgment in Enugu State, declaring the operations of a VIO on the road by impoundment also illegal in Enugu State. So we can say that these are the laws, these are the court judgments we can point to as it stands now. Why am I emphasizing this? So that nobody will go tomorrow in Anambra State and tell VIO that there's a court judgment that has nullified the operations or that has nullified your power to impound anything on the road. So it's not applicable here in Anambra State or in Delta State, where the court judgment does not in any way, doesn't in any way have any implications. So having said that, now you mentioned Lagos State, and it's also, let me also talk about Lagos State, because Lagos State went ahead to amend their own laws, and under a certain law they call Transport Sector Reform Law of 2018. On that very law, they now gave the VIO, the power to stop impound vehicles, exactly, impose fines in Lagos, and that's why it's operational. So having noted this, I now get into the first question, because we need to look at all these things. The first question is, if you look at the functions or the jobs of the VIO, you will see things like ensuring that vehicles are safe and legal for the road by checking mechanical fitness, and by mechanical fitness they are going to check the brakes, the light, the tire. They also verify documents. They look at registration, insurance, emission. They also enforce roadworthiness standards, educate the public on safety, and sometimes assist in accident investigation to find the mechanical causes. And in some cases, they have to do things that can ensure that we get to prevent accidents and ensure safety on the road. If you also look at the functions of the federal road safety, you can see some overlap. You look at what the traffic department of the police does, you can also see overlap. It seems like that three different bodies are almost executing the same function. Now, is there any way we can do a distinct demarcation of what the job of each of these various agencies is and what the job is not? Because why Nigerians are sometimes agitated is that you get a police checkpoint, police ask you for insurance, you provide. You see federal road safety is asking for insurance, you provide. You see VIO, he asks you for insurance, you provide. Three different agencies asking for the same thing, and you can become tired of all these things. So is there any way we can look at the laws enabling these very three agencies and see if we can do a clear distinction of what their roles are, so that this overlap is going to cease? That's number one. The number two is, it's also important for us to understand why it is good that sometimes we do not sit down all the time to complain. Rather, you take the bull by the horns. Why do I mean? Now, this very law we're making reference to now in FCT, it was somebody who took it upon himself to go to court to challenge the operations of VIO to know whether they are working under enabling law or not. But we have this culture in Nigeria whereby everybody complains about everything, even when it's obvious that there's a law banning certain actions. Nobody goes to court to test that and see whether we're going to have a court to rule in favor or against. Take for instance, people go to shops and buy goods, and they are given the receipt, no refund of money after payment, and they go home with it. Once they get home, that product is very bad that they cannot use it, but they can't even return it, because when they take it to that same place where they bought it, they are told that, can't you see what is written on the receipt? Whereas that thing on the receipt is not valid before any law. So what is the importance of people, other than complaining all the time, take up the gauntlet, go to court, to challenge certain things and see what the law says about it?
Let's begin with the overlap and possibly educate the people what each of these agencies statutorily or primarily should do. One thing, the core function of VIO in some states, because I have said many times, is under the state laws. Most VIOs are under the Ministry of Transportation. That's the ministry that supervises his work. They conduct everything physical. They conduct vehicle inspection tests. They look at the vehicles, check the brakes as you mentioned, check the lights, everything. They do it physically. And also the issue of driver texting, trying to, if a driver feels that he has learned, they will be the one to determine if the driver is qualified for driver's license. They don't issue license, but you must get their permit. If things work the way they should work in this country, for FRAC to issue you driver's license, they will ask for the VIO driver testing reports. So it's from that VIO driver testing report that FRAC now issues license. And they also
is it still in that very order? Because what I've seen them doing these days is that they have some driving school that have been licensed. That you go there, do your driving test. Once you have passed that, you now come for the driver's license.
Okay, so they even monitor now.
That is it. Most times they don't respect these jurisdictional boundaries. Ordinarily, for FRAC to issue you driver's license, they ought to request the driver testing report from your state VIO. And when they also look at a vehicle, if you can make a claim that your vehicle is roadworthy, but they will look at it and say it's not roadworthy, they will not demand for roadworthiness certificate from your state vehicle inspection office. It is not the duty of federal road safety to determine if your vehicle is roadworthy or not.
And that's the overlap we are talking about. Overlap,
but it is the duty of the VIO. Once they look at the certificate issued with the dates, they will understand their vehicle is. So I think generally FRXC is to ensure compliance on our highways, not state roads. Let's be honest. They ensure compliance of some of these things. If your vehicle is roadworthy, but they don't issue the roadworthiness certificate. So they also ensure, like, issue of driver's license. If you have got VIO driver testing reports before they issue this license. So the duty of FRAC, in the case of roadworthiness, they don't issue certificate, VIO does. In the case of driver's license, they do with the report of VIO. So you look at that their jobs are complementary, but just like you pointed out earlier on, they try to do the work of the order just to make money out of it. We are the Federal Road Safety have commissioned some schools and call them driving schools, where if you pass from that driving school, they issue you a license. That is not the way it should be. Or rather, it should be the work of the VIO to do the texting. They conduct this physical texting, but they don't do these things. You know why they're on the road? Because FRC neglect them. They try to do their own enforcement. It is the duty of FRC to do the enforcement, not them. If FRC has given them that leverage, why enforcing? People will be rushing in their office. If FRC funds a vehicle for not having roadworthiness certificate, what do? You go to VIO to get it. They don't need to be on the road because people will be rushing to obtain that thing that have been asked to obtain by the FRC. But being that FRC do not count on them and possibly take money, they now come on the road to take their own money. So that is the problem. So
instead of actually working to safeguard not just Nigerians on the roads, but to make sure that we have less nuisance on our roads, these agencies, outside of the fact that they are really being duplicated, are all just out there to make money.
That is what it is. For me, the Federal Road Safety, I understand the creation. We understand why the federal road safety was created. But in the real sense, it should be under the state. By the time we start these amendments trying to really enforce the real federalism, anything transportation should be under the state.
All right.
Not under anything federal. State, because if you look around here in Anambra State, we have ATMA. Don't we? If you go to the local government level, you have ONTA. That's Onitsha North Traffic Agency, right? And these are people that try to decongest traffic. We've seen these agencies, they hang around just for money making. Many of them believe that being on the road is the only way to sustain their operations.
And many of them do not even have any enabling law establishing them.
That is the point. The point is they are on the road to get money for their operations. That's what they will tell you. If you are heading from Waka Road now, let's assume if you are leaving Onitsha now through Waka Road, at Savoy Junction, after that stop, you will see road safety. You will see police. You will see even VIO sometimes. They all clock at the same point.
You see ATMA.
What are they doing at that point? They are all there for money. And if you look at what they're doing there, they are collecting money. Police are just busy collecting money from commercial drivers.
Quickly, before we go on this break, speaking about the existence of ATMA and then VIO, isn't it an overlap?
ATMA is a creation of state law.
Uh-huh.
VIO is also a creation of state law. Their functions do not overlap, but unless they try to overlap it themselves. ATMA is primarily
to do what FRC does on federal roads, on state roads?
No. ATMA does not issue license. They do not issue plate numbers.
I mean, in terms of regulations on the road.
When it comes to road traffic management, ATMA does road traffic management, trying to make sure there is free flow of traffic at
for
every
all
point.
roads or just state roads?
State roads. They don't have business being on the federal road. So ATMA jurisdiction is on state roads. Federal road safety on federal roads, because we have got federal roads and state roads. ATMA goes to state roads to ensure there is free flow of traffic. There is no traffic congestion. Anything that will constitute traffic congestion, they ensure that is dismantled. VIO talks about being able to be on the road if you are driving anything. That is essentially, and then the drivers, if they know how to drive or not, that's not the work of ATMA. So I think if these institutions respect their boundaries, but they do not, why? They want to make money.
Okay, let me quickly add this, because I'm just wondering what becomes of this very VIO, because now we have people going to challenge their right to impound vehicles in some states. Like I said, Enugu, somebody has done that in Enugu state. In FCT now, somebody has done that. And that of FCT has gone into appeal court level. And VIO has said they are going to Supreme Court to challenge that. For Enugu, it still has the court of first instance. In some other states, we have not seen that. And the Anambra, I just did the charge to see if there's any known law establishing VIO in Anambra State. I have not found anyone. Now, I'm just wondering, for the fact that the primary responsibility of VIO is to ensure roadworthiness of vehicles, if this very VIO is to function and does not have any enabling law to impound vehicles that fail, so how are they going to go about enforcing what is supposed to be their job? That's number one. The number two is the fact that if this VIO is actually in state and people are working there taking salaries, and we're having these rickety vehicles on the road. That's the one I saw in front of Chisco Park yesterday. If we deliver this rickety vehicle to the point that at that Chisco Park, it lost 2 tires.
Okay.
So you keep on wondering, how do we always talk about frequent accidents we have on our roads, whereas we have death traps on the road, no vehicles? So are we thinking, or we just create offices, pay people, and they do nothing?
That takes us back to what I said earlier. Once you talk about transportation vehicles, commercial vehicles, they look the other way. It looks like they're only on the road to check on private vehicle owners. But we go on a commercial break now. Quickly, when we come back, conversation continues. Keep it locked. Still the Polity on Udala Radio.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When the city sleeps, the river remembers. When the drums call, Onitsha awakens. December, the call grows louder as Udala Radio joins forces with the Golibe Festival 2025. From December 26th to New Year's Day, the heartbeat of the East comes alive. Music, laughter, art, culture, and the unstoppable joy of homecoming. This year promises more energy, more color, more connection. A festival for every proud son and daughter of Igbo land. Stay tuned to Udala Radio, your front row seat to the celebration that never fades. Golibe Festival 2025. Exclusive media support by Udala Radio. It's not just a festival, it's who we are.
Your investment is just one drop. On its own, it can only do so much. Now, imagine a million more drops. This is the power of First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund. They pool your money with others to create a powerful flow, giving you access to great earning opportunities. Call 0201-889-4444 now to start with 5,000 Naira, $100 or more. Let us build wealth together. The First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission Nigeria. Please read the prospectus and where in doubt, consult your investment advisor, stockbroker, fund or portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor, or any other professional advisor for guidance before subscribing.
Merry Christmas from all of us.
Udala Radio
104.7.
Now hear the Christmas Day sweet past. Let's go. Bells they ring for the street tonight. Children they dance under Christmas light. Mama they cook jollof, aroma they rise. Now for they smile, joyfully miles. No they for body love they warm. Afro be breathing, happiness don't come. Oh, from Onitsha city to every home. Now celebrate shine, food is on. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, everybody gather, make we jollof. Up the tree, let it shine, let it shine. Love for the season, make we share, make we bind. From morning to night, Udala hold you tight. Now Christmas magic, pure delight. Udala, Udala, Christmas day sweet, oh Udala, Udala, feel the beat, oh. From all of us at Udala Radio.
Merry Christmas, wetalanye angole no bioto. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Are greater stakeholders in Nigerian project. That statement is credited to President Bola Tinubu, and that is or was delivered on his behalf by Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday at the Imo Economic Stakeholders Summit held in Owerri, Imo State. And of course, in his words, he said the Igbos are geographically mobile, economically enterprising, and educationally ambitious. This Nigerian nation is better with Ndibo as part of the dispensation. Our duty as a government and as a people is to give them the tools, the platform, and the competence to construct the platforms that await them. And now the big question is, are the people, the Ndibo, given the tools, the platforms? And of course, he actually did say himself that they are competent. So the platform and the tools have been the question hanging around the, would I call it the Igbo-ness or the Nigerian-ness of the average Onibo. With the vice president also acknowledging that the greatest stakeholders of the Nigerian project are Ndigbo, as half of Abuja is owned by them, half of the population in Lagos largely made up of Ndigbo. I also came across a video a few days ago, I don't know, of a preacher who was saying something that gave me the chills and then made me sit back and think, are Ndigbo possibly also contributing to this misfortune? Because when Mr. President, when the vice president on his behalf said about Ndigbo being big stakeholders and how they are spread across everywhere, we've often seen talks about what I call it victimization, policies, moves made that affect them regardless of how much they have decided to establish and exist in other places apart from the southeast. This preacher said that more often than not, the average Igbo man believes that money answers all things. And so you tell an Igbo man that this place should not actually be constructed on because maybe it's part of the government plan or it's on waterways or, issues like that. And he tells you, Ego Kogeri. And he moves into pumping money. And at the end of the day, there are issues. And so the Igbo man may start to feel that he's not being given the platform. And so I'm asking you two questions now, Tony. The existence of that platform and the possibility of it being abused by the same Igbos.
When you talk about platform, I guess you mean the very space to thrive.
Yes, the enabling environment to thrive politically, geographically, in all aspects.
I think, definitely, because you must create these places you are talking about yourselves. Nobody will do it for you. If you're waiting for government to do it for you, definitely you will be making a very big mistake. And that's one thing about an average Igbo man. He does not wait for government to do anything for him. He goes on to do it himself and to create opportunities where they are none. So let's talk about the Imo State Economic Summit yesterday, because that's where you crafted or draft your question from, as against what we have generally. Yes, we must commend the Imo State government for hosting such a summit. If you look at the invitees, those that came, it tells you a lot about the potentials. Ban Ki-moon, former Secretary General of the United Nations, was there. I listened to him. Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was there. I listened to him. Joseph Boakai, President of Liberia, also listened to him. You also have Amena Gurib Fakim, former President of Mauritius. You also have Aliko Dangote, Chairman Dangote Group, and the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. They were all there. We also have state governors, former heads of regional and African institutions like Afrexim Bank via his ex-president, and also a broad mix of global business executives, investors, developed partners, and diaspora stakeholders. They were all there yesterday in Imo State. I think the other part of the event will conclude today. Today is 5th because it started yesterday. It's a 2-day event. And if you look at the objectives of such event, because I have always queried most events and conferences and summits we have in this country, it seems to be just a jamboree gathering. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of it, and it ends up there. And if you look at the amount spent to host such gathering, the effect will be defeated, because the effect will be to make something out of that. Because I know that one of the objectives of that very summit was to market Imo State as an investment-friendly destination, and also to highlight priority sectors with strong potentials, which I believe they looked into: agriculture, agribusiness, energy, gas and oil, renewable, and other things like technology, innovations, real estate. But also, they look at how they can foster partnership and collaborations, especially between the local stakeholders, domestic and international investors. And then they look at a way to position Imo State as a strategic growth frontier. These are some of the objectives. Now you ask this question because for you to bring Ban Ki-moon, for you to bring likes of Joseph Boaki, Boris Johnson, it takes funds. I know the government of Imo State must have spent fortune to bring these people, to leverage on their influence to see if investors will come in. Remember, I keep saying this. If you don't make your state or your country to be business friendly, no amount of summit, no amount of conference will convince an investor. If you like, bring all of these people to come and speak, to come and even rendition wonderful speeches, nothing. For you to make a state business friendly, one, security is important. Yes, law and order, the ability of states, agencies and institutions to be independent in their operations. These people have high commissions and embassies all over the country. No investor will come from China without taking advice from Chinese embassy. No investor will come from Italy, from Switzerland, anywhere without asking either their high commission or the embassy, without asking them questions about the business climate in that area. So it's not about bringing Boris Johnson, it's not about bringing Ban Ki-moon, Joseph Boaki, former Mauritius, this and that. Because if you look at it, the governor of Imo State must have spent fortune. But I like the idea that he wants to project Imo State to bring it to international community. But then more work needs to be done. More work. I had expected where he had done this work and then come back with this conference. I don't know if he has done that work. What is the security situation in Imo State? What is the level of independence measured by any unit, especially when it comes to the judiciary? And how has government, through their policies, create enabling environment for businesses? We are busy chasing foreign businesses. What about local businesses? How have we been able to grow local businesses and ensure that they do not suffer revenue harassment by revenue collectors?
So Tony, are you suggesting that what is happening in Imo State now could end up becoming a jamboree because the government of the state is targeting that it wants to make the state a $1 trillion economy, and that was why they organized this very summit, which is themed Unlocking Imo's Economic Potential, Partnership, Investment and Innovation. And they said that they want to attract global investment and then put the state on the right stead for it to become a $1 trillion economy. Now, you mentioned some persons who were invited for this very summit. These are most of them are foreigners. They are also locals. If you look at the lineup, star-studded, one must say. The GMD of Zenith Bank, GMD of Unity Bank. They talk about the Afrexim Bank president. Just mention them. MD of Nexim Bank. Plenty of them. Even those who are playing the oil and gas, in the agro business, all of them were all invited for this very summit. And like you pointed out, the government is going to spend a huge amount of money to do this. And yesterday, Boris Johnson came to Nigeria and he said that he feels perfectly safe.
My marketer.
So I was not thinking whether he was actually doing the marketing, or he was just saying exactly the way he felt being in Nigeria. Ban Ki-moon spoke about climate and how Africa can become the next big thing if Africa does the right thing that it's supposed to do. But Africa is not doing that. And host of other speeches that we have seen so far. Now somebody can say Imo State has a good dream to improve the economy, to make the economy to become the hub for everything. But the fundamental question is, are you seeing this becoming a jamboree that at the end of all these things, at the end of this money that has been spent on this, it will end up in reports that are going to end up in the shelf? I will also have in mind too that Imo State has this their light up project where they want to empower an indigenous firm to go into power generation and distribution. whereby they won't depend on national grid for them to get electricity. And he's saying that is the first thing that he wants to do to get the economy working, that he wants to provide power 24/7 in that state. So looking at the dream, looking at the vision, and then what we have known to be our precedent and trajectory, are you seeing this to be a jamboree?
Just like I said earlier on, I'm very, very minded in what we've seen and what will come. I said earlier on, there are some homeworks that ought to have been done before this kind of summit. If he had hosted a local summit, no problem. But from the look of things, the summit seems to be international summit, and you've not done your homework. What are the homeworks? I've said many times, they are enablers when it comes to business, climate. These enablers are not the way they should be in Imo State. Let me say, for instance, you talked about electricity. There is energy crisis in that very state. The populace there, they don't have power 24/7. So if somebody wants to bring in business, so he has to pay extra, and power, especially energy, takes, or in fact rob off whatever profit you may think of in hosting any business. So it is very essential. That has not been solved. Then I think if he had also done so well in the area of security, which probably he's doing something about it, and we will not deny that he has not done anything or is not doing anything. But there's a level we expect it to be. That is true.
So he's doing window dressing.
And that is just that. And then the third part of it, what are the legislations? The government, not just policy. What are the legislations the government has come up with to ensure that business, especially investors, have a very, smooth time having or doing business in Imo State? Let me say this thing. For instance, I just said if he had maybe started with a local one and all that, but you are looking at $1 trillion economy, exactly what Nigeria is aiming. Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, as the president of Nigeria, is aiming $1 trillion GDP, and now Imo State is also aiming the same $1 trillion. So is that not overambitious? But that is by the way. The key thing I have to say here: look around you. That thing you are looking for at Sokoto could be in Sokoto. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You see, Tony, when I asked you about the platforms earlier, I was eventually going to drive towards what enabling environments are we talking about when you talk about these platforms. I asked you about, the things put in place for growth to happen. All right. And at the end of the day, you bring it down to the southeast, because we often say, Akulun or Igbos, bring your wealth home. Imo State, looking at the fact that how many cities do we have in Imo apart from Owerri? We have possibly Nekede. And after that, what is it like in the Imo State environment for businesses to thrive there? What is it like in terms of power? You mentioned power, security, road infrastructure. All of these things are important. When you speak that you have given a person or people a platform to thrive, come back home. Look at what home is like, the southeast. What is it like? And what are you doing to make it a better platform?
Just like I have always said, because you talked about this platform and then the cities and some of these things that needed to be done, which for us we are not seeing. My aim is nobody is going to tell us the cost of hosting this economic summit, and my fear is I don't want it to become a jamboree. Looking
at similar ones that have happened, are they not all jamborees?
That's what I'm saying. Look at the problematic areas. Look at the road infrastructure, rural road connectivity, transportation sector. It's not about trying to construct the roads in some of these urban areas. What about these roads that connects to one area to the other? You also have issues of basic amenities. There are some amenities that are lacking. See, I have seen weak rural urban balance and underdevelopment of rural areas, because some of these places you are talking about, if it's in the area of agriculture, they may go into rural areas. What do you have in those areas that will sustain those who will be doing businesses in those areas? So I have seen even poor governance and transparency and also institutional weakness. I have mentioned some, and I have also said that I've not seen legislations that would catalyze whatever vision he has for the state. See, we have a long way to do. I said certain homeworks we are not done, but nobody is going to talk about the cost of hosting this economic summit. I like his ambition, there's no doubt. I like the way he has envisioned Imo State, there's no doubt. But he have to start not for the optics, because for me these things are for the optics. Just like you call it window dressing, I may call it optics, but there are real works to be done. I have said it many times. What we may be looking at Sokoto may be in Sokoto. It is everywhere. Let's say this. It is everywhere. Known that the Igbo people control about 70% of Nigerian economy. And if you look at the service sector, they dominate the service sector. Check the GDP of any country, even in Nigeria. Service sector dominates GDP composition. And there is this tribe that dominates that service sector. And if you're going to talk about real estate, they dominate in that area. Are you going to see there are so many areas? In fact, if there was a time in Abuja, they said that about 70% of buildings in Abuja, they are owned by these people, by the same set of people. How many of these people have you been able to? In fact, if you do Akulun, if some of these people who have been building so many things, look at Lekki Phase 1, Lekki Phase 2, Banana Island. Who made it so? A particular tribe. When they are made,
let me not get back to the statement which was made by the vice president, because listening to him, saying all those flowery things about the Igbos, what they have done, how they have shaped Nigeria and what have you. I was trying to just oppose that with the situation the Igbos find themselves in Nigeria. It appears like what he did in Imo State was just to go and make a political statement rather than speaking to the facts as they are. So that statement he made, how would you place it in the context of the essence of that very summit and the situation of Igbos in Nigeria?
I think he has made a very fine statement. Whether you call it political statement or a kind of endorsement of what we can do or what we are in for, we are open for business, it's fine and good. But I'm looking at the cost of making this statement and the statement itself. Because if you look around, the cost of hosting this conference could have provided at least general hospitals in about 10 of the 27 local governments you have in Imo State. Imo State is one of the states in Southeast that has the highest number of local governments. If you look at others, they have smaller local governments, Enugu 17, Anambra 21, and stuff like that. And then you have Imo 27 local governments. And if you look around, they center their development in the urban areas. Nothing seems to be happening.
When you say urban area, because beyond the Owerri and some other places, look, let me give you one instance of when the year I went to, that should be about 2 years now, I went to Mbitolu and, took a bus through the Onitsha road and got to that very junction. I've forgotten that very, is it Nkwoje or Ukwoje, so somewhere. I got to that very junction and then I was told that the only means I can get to the place I was going to in Mbitolu was to use bike. Guess what? What I paid for on bike was way higher than the fare I paid to move from Onitsha to Imo State. And to make the matter worse, if the bike takes you to that very takes you into that very town or into that very community, for you to come out from that place, is either you have somebody you have to call to come and help you to come out or not. So this issue of trying to concentrate development in just a few places, whereas the other places you can develop and be able to decongest the so-called urban areas, nobody thinks about them.
If you just look at it, outside Owerri, what is going on in Olu? Because Olu, for instance, is actually conceived to be the second largest urban center after Owerri. But I understand that that Olu road that has been under construction, yes, going on, but if you go there, how are the markets, the industries, the banks, and then residential and commercial? See, Olu should be a standard city. Honestly, what about Okigwe, which is also considered a major third city? If you look at that area, you find out that roads connecting you to Okiwe through intra-state roads that are dilapidated, that are worn out, that are possibly, rustic.
Are we talking even about the security situation in those areas? Okiwe has been a hotbed, though.
Let me tell you something. Naturally, Imo State should have 5 major cities. You should have, apart from Owerri, I think 6 cities. Owerri should be number 1. Olu should be number 2. Okiwe should be number 3. Mbise, Belt, that Abom Mbise, Ahiazum Mbise, Ezinihite Mbise. But, if you look at that area, it's a ghost area. Apart from, I don't want to say anything, because I know there are those who are from that area that are listening to us. Oguta, you look at a fine lake. If Oguta were to be in Spain, in Portugal, if Oguta were to be in even Morocco here, do you know how that place would have been number 1 tourist hub in this country? What is the government thinking or planning or doing about that area? Oguta should be a city.
A quick one.
Okay.
What do you think about the Imo State or the Imo Light Up project, which, like I said, that what the government is doing here is, since the state has also now enacted its own law to have the powers to regulate electricity in that very state, other than doing what we have seen some other states in the southeast do, whereby they still have EDC being in control, then EDC create a subsidiary company, to see to power in this very area. Take for instance, if you go to Ebonyi, there's EDC subsidiary called Eastland Power, which is in charge.
Exactly.
You go to Enugu, it's now Main Power.
Yeah.
Come to Anambra, it's now First Power.
Yeah.
All these things are all subsidiaries of EDC. But Imo State chose something quite different, where it tried to create its own indigenous company, which is going to generate power off the national grid and be able to distribute. And they're having partnership with companies in Egypt for them to be able to do this. So this power project, because for him, this is the primary thing he wants to do. He wants to do this and then ensure that Imo gets 24/7 power. How do you look at this very light up project in comparison to what other states are doing?
I think it's an ambitious project, there's no doubt. But why that is ongoing, what do you have in ground? Why that is ongoing, what do you have on ground? We've seen many states embark on ambitious state power generation project. Amechi, as a governor of River State, did something like that. And we've seen some governors at the end of the day, but they had considerable bottleneck because you have to upload to the national grid. But now, where state can generate their own power, distribute their own power, and at the same time, consume their own power, is a very big project. But you must bring in an investor who would also share your thoughts, share your ideas, and ready to recoup his money. Nobody makes any investment without having a plan on how the money will be paid back. So, do you have economic activities that will sustain such, or where you have, rural, dwellers taking over any place? See, I have said this thing: building hotels is not the only way of developing a city. Because if you come to Owerri, every corner is hotel. Every corner. I don't know what they usually build.
Only Owerri now?
I don't know.
But is it just Owerri? It seems to be like something we like in this part of the world.
I'm talking about.
He's talking about Imo State, and I'm saying this concentration is even only in Owerri.
Other
parts of Imo State are not feeling that.
Let me say this thing. Are you aware that Idea North, Idea South, around Uzog Azix can as well, be developed? Are you aware that Ohaji Egbema Azix can also be, developed? And also, are you aware that Itu Boma, Obo Azix? You can also talk about the Ngopala Azix, the Oru East, Oru West, that even borders my own local government. These areas, nothing seems to be happening in those areas. But you won't see hotels in most of these places I've mentioned, but all of them find their own. If you go to Olu, 1 or 2 hotels are there, but every hotel is in Owerri. Owerri has no space again. In fact, the industry, the most thriving industry in Owerri is hotel business. And I don't know whether it's because of the school environment in that area. You have Imo State University, you have Naked there, you have this. I don't know if anybody finishes whatever he does and wants realization with a woman, he goes to Owerri. I don't know.
Tony, let's take a commercial break.
I know you will say let's take a commercial break, but I don't know.
Because I don't know how women are going to suffer for what you're saying. Keep women out of
that
the
is
matter.
what men do. It's not a problem of women. So I'm just trying to let you what men do.
So men are responsible.
Of course, it's not the way we are looking at. We are talking about ambitious power projects, but it's not about, is this ambitious power project going to light up all the hotels? Is that what we are looking at? We are looking at situation.
Where power can bring about industrialization.
Go back to what they envisioned for Imo State. Look at the agro area, the palm.
So many
manufacturing.
Things.
Our politicians have killed this dream.
And that's why I asked you earlier.
Who, in fact, Rochas Okorocha, when he was there, he played the same thing. He was for the optics. He was there making political statements. He was there, he was there bringing people from different places. In fact, he nearly had something close to this kind of summit. The one he brought Oshibajo, remember? So where he will dance and then tell us that the world will be focused. How much did they spend in making all these things? As we speak today, outside of Owerri, and I've said what is going on in Olo, what is going on in Okigwe, what is going on in some of other cities I mentioned, Mbano, Mbise area. See, just like you said, there are places you go to where only bike will bring you back, not even a vehicle. Bike. I was in Imo State sometime. I told you.
Yes, yes, I remember.
Yeah, of course, I was there. But in fact, the vehicle in question, I pity the vehicle, honestly speaking. But if you go to Owerri is fine, very fine, fantastic, very beautiful. But it's not about Owerri. Just like I was telling Peter Mba the other day, it's not about Enugu. It's don't concentrate development, spread this development. I don't want to mention a state that is, where we are having something different, because if they say you are biased. Spread this development.
Let's take a break.
My concern is
some commercials.
Igbo businessmen should come back. If you talk about this Akuluno, let's do something.
You have to have a platform.
Where
are they keeping it when they bring it home?
Also provide this platform.
I was somehow I found myself behind Ukulu this morning. There's a new road diversion. Yeah. There's a new road behind. I don't know. Somehow I just know that my dad took that road and was seeing the clean road, and I said, Daddy, do you realize that? Yes, that
Who
back
built the road?
You're asking me.
Who built the road you are talking about?
I think it's a state. I think it's not a federal state road.
But the truth remains that, can we start dualizing state roads in our
You're talking about dualization. I was driving at what kind of development and industrialization can happen there with that road facility alone.
That is it.
The road is so clean that people with security, investors can actually come.
Do you know that China, for instance, do you know most of these things we bring in from China? If we provide an enabling environment, they will start producing these things here. And if they produce these things here, our people will be engaged. We will be employed.
Everything I thought about when I saw that place.
Everything we bring in from,
seen that road before,
divide what we bring in China, bring Chinese investors, create enabling environment, provide these amenities. All they are asking for, provide amenities and also legislations that will make the investment to be secure. Okay. That's what they're asking for.
Let me just share this story because of what you just said about that very road. I know the road you're talking about. The road that connects you from that Nogo area, then you go through Kuru and connect to
Ibariam.
That area is Otoko Kuzo, then Namutu Ibariam.
Yes, I think it's Otoko.
In 2000 and actually about 2006, 2007, 2008, land in that area, all the kind free of charge.
200,000 or even 150.
And free of charge. Now, if you were living in Nukulu then, maybe you have gone to Ibaran Junction or Ibaran area, and if you're going to return to a house on a rainy day, you might trek for several kilometers for you to get home, because nobody, not even a bike, will be able to drive you to that place. That was how bad it was. Then we were still at Ibariam, so that area we used to go that place. We know how bad it was. But guess what? The last time I passed that area, I couldn't recognize where I was living.
Is that a state or a federal road?
State road.
That's
really commendable. So I could not recognize areas I was very familiar with, because businesses have sprung up
from that aspect.
Now, another one that happened.
Yes, it's a state road connecting to the larger federal road at the Onitsha Enugu Expressway.
So the thing is, if we take development to the grassroots,
that is it.
Some persons who are running away from the villages going to concentrate in the city, they will stop. Let me give you an example.
I'm even thinking foreign investors. I mean, like
Apart from
Tony said, those things that are built outside, a lot of manufacturing can actually go in.
Microeconomic activities. Look at how much we pay for house rent in Abuja, in Lagos, in many places, in Oka, in Onitsha. Do you know if we take this, development,
spread out,
spread them to the, these rural areas, of course, it would change a lot. This issue of rural-urban migration imbalance. Don't our leaders? I don't know if they think.
All right, Franklin, you wanted to round off on that. Let's go for a commercial break. Okay, then. And when we come back, we open up the phone lines. Do stay.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Abachi chane tozialo. Wendy's bread, mama papa they like Wendy's bread, chichane nyanduo. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, you get it better tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Anambra, the rhythm returns home. This December 28th, Oka will breathe in rhythm and shine in gold. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming edition, featuring Annie Dons Onyechaka, Iblis Jarek, Mr. Raw, Slow Dog, Charles Okocha, PB Ninja, Ivata, Diamond Okechi, Eaglet Davidson, Casey Kubana, MC Monica, Abwefi I Go Talk, Slim Sherry, Waga, Ejai Kwampa, Go to Onitsha, Hype Man Extraordinary, Harry B, Hype AO Machine, DJ Fresh Omen, DJ Alonso, DJ Spin Daddy, DJ Factor, DJ Fabuloso, VVIP table 3 million naira, VIP table 2 million naira, regular table 1 million naira, cocktail table 300,000 naira, standalone or walking guest 150,000 naira. For reservation and inquiries, do call 0913-484-4336 or +1970-258-0990. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming, December 28th, Anambra State. This event is proudly packaged by CNM Entertainment. Be there.
Hello, my brother.
Hello, bro. How far now?
Adele, waiting this up now.
Now my tenants, they won't finish me. They know they pay rent. Wahala every day. Papa, the way you get supposed to give me joy. You don't do wahala.
Yeah, my brother. You need to upgrade to A sharply.
Guy, another agent I beg, I don't want. Agent that they wahala na 5 and 6.
Sure, you never try Assoja sets now. The best from in property management. See, since I carry my houses, give them. Nah, so I they enjoy peace of mind like this. Them they handle rent collection, tenant screening, maintenance, everything. I just they relax, they watch my investment, they grow like this.
You know me now. You mean I pay avoid all these shifting with tenants?
Now, correct. Assoja sets go manage all your property worries. Them they professional, transparent, and reliable.
My friend, will you get out? Now see finish the cost of this nonsense. No worry. As we just said they come. Una go soon hear out.
Why stress when Aswich Assets will run am for you? For property management, tenant services, and real estate solutions, call Aswich Assets today on 0904-0422-240 or 0906-8205-058 or visit our office at number 8 Niger Drive, GRA Onitsha, Anambra State. Forget cho from house agent and trust the experts at Aswich Assets for your peace of mind. Aswich Assets, managing property, multiplying value. When you think of roofing, think of strength, When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203. With Best Aluminium, you're investing in peace of mind, in beauty, and in the future of your home. Because when it comes to roofing, the best choice is always Best Aluminium MFG Limited. Tomorrow's technology today.
NEPA don take light again. Wetin I fit do? Every day fuel don cost. How person wan take survive? I go cook soup today, tomorrow e go sour.
My people, why you dey stress when the sun dey your head for free? Switch to the affordable solar energy wey Wascana Solar Company dey give small businesses and homes across Naija, whether na barbing salon o, restaurant o, supermarket o, or your 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. Wascana Solar get correct durable solar wey go serve you wella. No more NEPA wahala, no more expensive fuel. Let the sun power your business and home for free. And no forget o, solar fans, solar lights, everything dey available. Call Wascana Solar now for 0806 374 2374. I repeat am, 0806 374 2374 or send email to wascanasolar@gmail.com. Visit their office near Olive Relief after Marble Hill School Junction, Okpanam Road, Asaba, or Classic Line Zone 2, A4 Electrical Dealers International Market, Obosi. Wascana Solar, Okumube.
Ụbọchị dum jupụtara n'ọtụtụ ihe omume mana ego gị nọ nkịtị ebe ọ dị. Ọ bụrụkwanụ na nrụsi ọrụ ike dịka ị na-eme, kwụsịlata n'oge a mee ka ego gị rọrụ gị ọrụ. Sonye n'amụma First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund ma nweghachita ihe dị mma. Jiri naanị $500 $100 wee malite. Ngwa kpọọ akara 0806 494 5838 ka ị malite ịmụba ego gị. Ka anyị gbakọọ akụnụba anyị ọnụ. Edebanyere aha First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund n'akwụkwọ ụlọ ọrụ Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigeria. Biko gba akwụkwọ mgbazi oluso ya ma ebe ọbụla ị na-enwe obi abụọ. Kpọtụrụ onye investment advisor, stockbroker, fund maọbụ portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor maọbụ onye ọzọ ma ihe a na-akọ ka o duzie gị tupu ịmalite.
Golden Promise Fiesta 1.0 2025. Be there at the biggest fiesta of the year. Join us live at Sonia Hotel, Sawite, 153B Eziweka Road, Awado Busi, Onitsha, on the 20th of December 2025 by 5 p.m. till dawn. It'll be a night of unforgettable entertainment, comedy, dance, and thrilling musical performances from Anye Dons, Professor Chikobi, Sawan-on-One Women Leader, Twin Parrots, Abuchi Obusi, and many more. Tickets are available now. Regular 2,000 naira, VIP 10,000 naira, VVIP table of 5 persons 500,000 naira. Get yours at number 1 Ngozi Obago Plaza, 20 Enugu Road, Onitsha, or number 1 Pampan Lane Suite, P25, second floor, Merito Plaza, Main Market, Onitsha. Before the tickets sell out, contact us on the following numbers: 0814 394 2802 or 0808 441 5156. Golden Promise Fiesta 2025, proudly powered by Golden Promise Entertainment, sponsored by Melvin Table Water and Callisto's International Limited. Don't just hear about it, be there.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
All right, then you can get involved. Put a call across to 0803 87 6694 0803 221 6973. You have 1 minute. So when you put that call across, kindly go straight to the point. 1 minute. I probably would ring a bell today. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the voice of Ignition Sokoye.
Go ahead.
From our State Kingdom.
Go ahead.
Thank my speaker. The wonderful analysis he gave. It's just his government was listening to that man. is wonderful. God bless him. And bless Udala. You are saying wonderful things that help this country. You see, concerning this gambling, according to gambling, where nothing can come out of it. You see, these people, are they not listening to what is happening in this country? Are they not witnessing some industry that folded away in this country? Are they not listening, even the industry, by Dangote, what is happening there? Are they not listening to the kind of judgment we are having? Insecurity. Nothing will come out of this gambling. I heard what of them say. They say that this is good climate, yes, we have a wonderful climate. Peace, nothing, no peace. Yes, how can we not have peace in that circle? It would be in that circle. Coming to the other side of Igbo. Igbos, people gifted by God. They develop things. And tell you honestly, I live in Cross River State. There is a place called Harok in Cross River State. If people that visited that we are Igbo, and the people refuse the Igbo, and the Igbos move, they come to Kuagoka and to Ukonko, they went to Ekom and stay and they go to Ekom. But if they go to Ekom, you cannot compare Ekom. You take Ekom to Calabar. Wonderful, and the Arab people are regretting. Often the people do continue to go out of this place. They are unhappy. You go there, just a very nice place, you have a good river, vegetable land, but nothing happening there because they refuse Igbo. If you had lived this Igbo, this country, what is will happen? Go to Lagos, go everywhere in the country, you don't see Igbo in Nigeria. Let me stop here, my dear.
Your time is up. Thank you. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ebuka and Dr. Tony.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Dr. Tony, my name is calling from Oslo. When you are mentioning the local government, you didn't remember us there. I can tell you that out of the 27 local governments in Imo State, 20 remain underdeveloped. So I don't know the last local government. Do you know that since 1999 till today, our local government remains the way it was then? No single one project, no single atom of development in our local government. Our local government is in between Olo and the here. If you come, you will that's the reason why we are highly affected by insecurity. Because 80% of the geographical area of our local government is push. Very, very focused everywhere. Our government is organizing whatever is organizing guys over there. When everything is always said, is over there. Not development everywhere. It's just a jamboree.
All right.
Everything will remain.
Thank you for your contribution.
I don't know. Thank you.
We're sticking to 1 minute today. Let's hear what you've got to say. 0803-221-6973. Please go to Facebook. Drop your comment under the post and make sure to share. Hello, good morning. You should try to. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much. My name is Comrade Walter.
Go ahead, please.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. You see that thing they did in image, whether that thing is just jamboree. Wastage. Tell the governor, ask the governor a simple question. How many businesses have you managed as a person? If you, from the time you were known till now you become the governor, how many businesses have you managed? Those things are just political, political, I don't even know what to call it. My village, Umuhakabia, in Osun, local government of Imo State, we have not had light for the past 6 years. No single electricity.
6 years. What have your legislators been doing?
I can tell you, you can ask anybody.
The mayor of your local government?
In fact, I'm making it as a challenge. If anybody from Umuhakabia who can dispute what I said, let him come out and say it. The whole of Osun is deserted, is underdeveloped. So why are you bringing all these people to come and say, which business are you talking about? So all these things are just showmanship. Let us start with the government. How many businesses have you managed as a person? So they're just wasting our money. Look at what Boris Johnson is saying, that Nigeria is these things are just political showmanship. That is what that's what they did. You know where the governor should go to work. I am for more. He's for more Omuma. I'm for more Gabe. I'm for more government. He's for more.
Your time is up.
What is the difference between these two local governments?
Your time is up. We're sticking to 1 minute. You actually took 1 minute and 30 seconds. Good morning. Are you there? Yes, good morning. You should try to reconnect. 0803-221-6973. Good morning.
Thank you, Chisom. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
Mr. Speaker, Olisa Mbeki, good morning, I'm Franklin.
You're welcome, it's good to have you.
This is Monday Johnson. I'm calling from Onitsha.
Go ahead, please.
Please, I have two questions. Number one, the summit that took place in Imo State. I listened to Boris Johnson. He said that Nigeria is safe. But after that statement, the comment section was something else. Then I want to ask you, Tony, the world listening to a man like Boris Johnson, but I believe investors cannot just come. They will investigate the situation thoroughly. Now, looking at the commentary, what do you think that investors will do, hearing different things from Boris Johnson, a world figure, and hearing a different thing from people who are on ground? Investors, what do you think will be their perception about Nigeria and Imo State? Secondly, the judgment delivered yesterday against VIO. I believe, Tony, we have only one appeal court in Nigeria. And for Lagos to have come out and said that the judgment is not binding on them, when we have only one appeal court, it's only in High Court that we have State High Court and Federal High Court. But when it comes to appeal court, we have just one appeal court. So for them to have come to say that they are not binding by the judgment delivered by Nigeria appeal court, how do you look at that statement coming from Lagos government? Good morning.
Good morning. Let's head over to Facebook right after this call. Good morning. Can you do this in 30 seconds?
Tommy.
Good morning, you're welcome.
And Tony Olisa Mbeki with Frank.
Go ahead, please.
You're welcome.
Maruki Shuka coming from Olisa. Honestly, I'm just laughing all this while. What is happening in Imo State? It's like these governors of Imo State, whenever they are finishing their tenure, they will start to act comedy. The last governor, Olisa Mbeki, his own is to mold anybody he feels that he's handsome or beautiful. You understand? On this particular one now, he is hosting everybody. But I'm supposed to be seeing Barack Obama there. Even the former British Prime Minister. He should invite all these people. But I want to tell him that all this nonsense that they are doing is just a comedy, how would I put it, for funfair. And it is high time they will stop. The road that started from Owerri to Umuahia, that's in Bise Road, which this man started, I think, his first term or his second term, as in the first year in office. He has not finished it up to today. For how many years? He has not even finished from Owerri. Completing Bise, that's in Bise Road. He has not even finished it. But they are bringing people that I know that they might have spent billions of naira. They should stop deceiving themselves and try to tell themselves the truth. That nonsense that they are trying to do there is not going to work.
All right, thank you. Facebook now.
Okay, so Honor, okay, is appreciating what we do here on the radio. Thank you, Honor, for joining. Dr. Mrs. Simo Libra, I think I have to skip that for now because I think she's talking about a different thing altogether and not captured in what we discussed this very morning. Steven, also thank you for watching. Paulinus Okona, also thank you for watching and listening from Ibuzo Delta State. And Capuro International says that Tony, you are saying the truth. I have been to many parts of Imo State, only where it's developed. Even the senators, House of Rep members, State Assembly members are not doing anything. Likewise, some local government areas in that very state. Okay, he said that some local government areas in Imo State are not motorable. And then he goes on to add that what Tony is saying, okay, is the truth. Then Honor and then calls back to say, are Imolites listening to this? Has anyone been to Arodin Zogo as a whole no road, electricity and health center. Should we talk of Okigwe, you can't go there and spend the night due to insecurity. And Okigwe has one of the best natural resources that can help with the state revenue, the granite stone. And he says the Arodizuago has an agricultural resources, the palm, a cassava etc. And they should do more than this whole thing they are doing now. Okay, thank you, Honor, for adding this.
All right, that's all the comments we have. And of course, Tony, would you want to say something before we take down the curtain? There were some questions as well.
I think Honorable Monday Johnson asked a question. Don't we have one appeal court in this country? Because we know they have different regions where this appeal court is situated, but it's one. But Monday Johnson, honestly, I have to say this in this way. When a matter appears before a court, when judgment is granted unless it's explicitly written in the enrolled order, that's why some people will ask, let me be rejoined or let me be joined in this suit, because they want the effect of the suit to also get to them. The people that started this suit, just like I said during the analysis, it started at the Federal High Court Abuja, where it was FCT VIO, and they won Abubakar, a human rights activist, and then he was fighting for his fundamental rights suits. Now it got to appeal court. Appeal court ruled that you don't have powers in what you are doing. Appeal court, the suit is between Abubakar and the Abuja VIO. So declaration made by the court will not also get to other state VIOs. Remember, VIO is a state creation. If had it been, let's assume that Abubakar and Federal Road Safety were the one doing this, any restriction made by appeal court on Federal Road Safety applies to them wherever they are in the state. I don't need to understand it. Applies to them wherever they are in the state, because that you have only one FRSC. They have different state jurisdictions. So whatever judgment upon them affects them irrespective of their different states they're operating. But in the case of VIO, states have different laws. VIO is not one. Every state has its own VIO. Sometimes they call it different names. So any judgment against one VIO cannot affect the other one, because the law that created one is different from the law that created the other one. So I'm just trying to break it down in a way you understand.
All right, Tony.
So that is the reason why it will only be limited to Abuja.
Okay.
So you can't get whatever if you're not a member or joined to the suit. You can't just have effect of that very suit. We have said it many times. I don't know if you asked another question.
No, I think that's okay because we're totally out of time. Okay. Franklin, your last words, please. Thank you, Jenny, for your wonderful analysis.
Well, I was just going to drop what some persons posted on social media. They said that what happened in Imo State was a demonstration of the capacity of the governor of Imo State. That it's not easy to bring such personalities to Imo State. And maybe that could be in the realm of what Okorocha was able to do, because he was able to, bring the portrait of so many world leaders to Imo State in that era of war.
Why didn't Rope bring a serving prime minister? Boris Johnson is a retired politician. In UK, he has retired. He's not even serving. So whatever influence he has is local influence.